My name is Leanne Sherrod. I'm a speech-language pathologist and the President and Chief Clinical Officer here at Expressible. Thank you for joining me today to learn about two types of speech sound disorders: articulation and phonological disorders. As young children learn to speak, they may struggle to pronounce certain sounds correctly. This is a part of typical development. After all, speech skills naturally develop over time, and errors are often part of the learning process. Some sounds may come easily, like the p, or w sounds. Others are more difficult, such as z, sh, or th. By the age of 5, most children should be able to pronounce almost all types of speech sounds. However, if a child has difficulty saying sounds or words correctly past a certain age, this can be a sign of a speech sound disorder. As a parent or caregiver, it can be stressful to watch your child struggle to be understood. The good news is that speech therapy is highly effective in improving speech sound disorders. If your child has a hard time with certain sounds, it's helpful to understand what exactly is happening with their speech. In this video, we're going to discuss articulation and phonological disorders. These terms can be a bit of a mouthful, and you may not have heard of them before. So let's cover the basics. Articulation and phonological disorders are both speech sound disorders. The cause of these disorders usually isn't known. Although these disorders both affect how a person talks, there are some key differences between the two. An articulation disorder means a person has difficulty producing individual sounds. Making sounds involves coordinated movements of the lips, tongue, teeth, and palate, as well as the coordination of breath. Children with articulation disorders have a tough time using these motor functions to physically produce the correct speech sounds, for example, the l or v sound. Note that a child who's struggling with those two sounds has two separate types of articulation errors. These speech sounds are not related to each other in any way. Phonological disorders, on the other hand, always affect more than one sound. When someone has a phonological disorder, you'll hear patterns of predictable errors in their speech when they talk. There are a few types of phonological disorders, also called phonological processes. Fronting is one of the phonological processes. This refers to saying sounds at the front of the mouth when they should be produced at the back of the mouth. So the word cat may be pronounced tat, or the word go may be pronounced do. Another process is called stopping. This happens when a sound that typically has a certain output of air has that air stopped by an incorrect placement of the tongue, lips, or other parts of the mouth. In these cases, the word fun may be pronounced as pun, or this pronounced as dis. Gliding is a phonological process that you may recognize. This refers to difficulty saying the w, l, and y sounds. These sounds are grouped together because of similarities in how they're produced. Speech therapists refer to them as glides, so any issue with pronouncing a few of these sounds is called gliding. Someone may say walk instead of rock, or wook instead of look. To sum up, a child with a phonological disorder will have many speech sound errors, and they'll be predictable in the type of error that they make. They may have one phonological process or several. You can imagine how challenging it may be to understand their speech. Many children with phonological disorders also have trouble with something called phonemic awareness. That means that they have problems with understanding sounds and sound rules in words. They may also have trouble with language and literacy, which can affect their experience in the classroom. There are other phonological processes we didn't cover here, but these examples should help show the general difference between articulation and phonological disorders. Distinguishing between the two isn't always easy. However, a proper diagnosis is very important since it will largely determine the types of goals worked on in speech therapy. If you think your child may have a speech sound disorder, it's a good idea to get an evaluation from a certified speech-language pathologist. Early intervention is so important. The sooner a child can begin speech therapy, the faster they'll make progress towards clearer speech.